Why, hello there, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages. My name is Mr. DB333, and welcome back to Hearts of Iron 4, The New Order. The ruin as the Ukrainian Socialist Soviet Republic. Well, last video, we defeated the dirty Germans, and now we're fighting against our countrymen in awkward fashion. What are you gonna do there, other than win? It's now brother fighting brother. But, we're gonna have to win, methinks. I don't get the lessons of a long march. Well, hopefully we won't need those lessons anymore. Hopefully this march will be notably less long. Let's wait for Galicia's resolution. Ukraine is not the only arcaded taste of Iron War. For to our west lies our captive Slavic brethren in Poland have similarly collapsed in civil war along with most of Eastern Europe. With the plight of the Ukrainian population in Galicia bringing pain to our hearts, the war in the breadbasket and the Wehrmacht demands our attention first. Yet, even as our civil war is still raging, we can still provide some manner of succor for the Ukrainians and other Slavs fleeing Poland. By setting up spaces for humanitarian aid camps and keeping food and medical supplies at the ready, we will be able to withstand the inevitable flood of refugees from the west as they cross into our borders. And when the war in Galicia is resolved, and which other force remains standing and licking their wounds, we will pounce like a wolf and devour the foe. I'm going to go ahead and start conserving right now. It's not the best, but hopefully that'll... Hold on, let's stop attacking for now. Let's wait for all our boys to get situated. We'll be able to take this, which is actually okay. The Van Nordens were hardly the only family who had fled to Kiev, and Peter had spent a long day dealing with a very overworked German official to give him an official place of residence. By the end of it, the official had practically shoved the residence papers in his hands without so much as giving directions. The disrespect chafed at him, but at this point he just wanted to settle down. The papers had calmed him. All they would need to do is wait until the Germans got their act together and crush these partisans. They eventually reached their apartment. Peter wrinkled the nose at the smell of a city, and then noted that the apartment was not exactly new. He failed to see the dismay in the eyes of his wife and son as they entered the dreary apartment of only a couple rooms, all of them in poor condition. His wife opened the window to bring in some air as they began to unpack. As Peter took out his belongings, he quickly noticed something that alarmed him. "My medals!" He quickly turned to Antonia frantically. "You saw my medals! I knew I grabbed them!" The entire family quickly began searching for them. Peter searched through all they had frantically, refusing to accept they weren't there. No, he couldn't have forgotten them. Alarm turned to fear, and fear to horror as he realized that if Ukrainian barbarians looted his home, they would find them, or worse, wear them. The image of some filthy, toothless Ukrainian wearing his medals in mockery to his service made him feel ill. He breathed heavily as his wife placed a hand on his shoulder, speaking comforting things to him to try and calm him down, while his son stayed in the corner, not wanting to come closer. He barely heard the comforts of his wife, thinking only of what had been lost. And he could only hope for a miracle. Tough shit, boyo. Extremely high deficit. You don't say. I think we can start pushing now. Don't entirely know what happened there, but anyhow. It took us a second, but we're starting to get our shit together, I think. focus we gotta do. Hold on. Shit, that hits our grain supplies is not gonna be the best. We'll hold off on that as long as we can. Jesus. We'll rush down this so we can get the 150. Snap the wires and cut the fuses. If you mind if the old Soviet Union has had anything over the Third Reich, it was a talent for subterfuge. The saboteurs and spy rings of the Kremlin were among the best in the world, whose methodology can be replicated for similar tactics against the present German army. The Reichskommissariats were already the very embodiment of mismanagement and neglect, even well before the outbreak of the Civil War. The holes in German-built infrastructure are just awaiting to be exploited. A sniped telegraph wire here, a missing supply truck there. Even the strongest chain has a weak point, and we know just where to wield the cutter. You stay back. We'll have you attack into there. Shit. So much fun. Well, we don't have three. We didn't get all three, but we got two of them. That's pretty good. We can get these guys taken out. That'll be good enough. And already, we're doing pretty well in taking all the necessary VPs. Snap the wire, we cut the fuses. There's only frontline, Fritz. With the Germans so obsessed with securing Ukraine for their decrepit colonial empire, it's deeply ironic that their single most effective weapon against the Nazis will land itself. The sheer size of the region combined with its mostly flat terrain creates a frontline that reminds one of the First World War, where there is seemingly always more and more of a line to defend no matter how far a trench is dug. Meanwhile, Pars, aligned with our cause, attacked the German supplies behind enemy lines, depriving the Huns of crucial resources. The cracks in the German lines are already forming, exposing routes to their supply lines to be harried by our militias. With their depots under siege, we will starve the Wehrmacht of weapons and ammunition in a fight. The focus didn't take into account that every German is now dead. True. Bit of an oversight. Assuming that the glory of the revolution would immediately wipe them out. Normally, excursions into town were a standard chore for Helena, necessary from time to time to acquire those things a farm could not provide. This time was different. She hadn't seen the UNRA attacks personally, but she had heard the outcome whispered by her fellow farmhands, discussed by her husband and his friends over cards. The town had been liberated. German garrisons from far from their home could put up little fight. Today, one could see the scars of that battle clear as day. Burnt homes, covered bodies in the rooms of a local fountain left broken in half by tank fire. Yet next to that rubble was a burning pile of objects surrounded by soldiers and local Ukrainians. As Helena rushed to see what it was, she recognized a wooden swastika installed by the Nazis in the center of town. Already blackened, one arm crumbled and fell. How warm this fire feels, Helena thought to herself. How lucky I am to be alive today. I wish my husband could understand this feeling. Paraguay. The South American content is going to be crazy when it all ends up being, like, you know, dropped. South America is a way crazier region than I think, I fully understand. Like, people think it's boring because, you know, the border changes remain kind of stagnant. I mean, yeah, but it's just like crazy histories of coups. South America needs focuses. Agreed. Ooh. The hostage crisis in Odessa that dominated Romanian politics in the last few weeks has ended in disaster following the slaughter of both the hostages and the Ukrainian insurgents. To make things worse, a scandal is labeled by local press as the Tiraspol affair has broken out involving the president of the Council of Ministers, Pănescu, after he was found to have employed agitator Nicita Shmochina to doctor justifications for Romania staying in Transnistria, scuttling any chances he had of continuing his premiership. Pănescu's already tendered his resignation to King Michael. In the meantime, Corneliu Opusu has been appointed in the interim as president of the Council of Ministers until elections can be held, elections that the TNO is widely projected to win. For Transnistria, the territory has been placed under military rule by General Grigori Bastan for the foreseeable future. Interesting. Husband is dead, he just doesn't have a nervous system. South America needs focus, is agreed. That in Africa. Yeah, they need to redo South Africa, I think. At least, like, add some extra content to it. I can live with the rest of the region not getting content for a while. But I really think that South Africa needs some more content. Second Malagasy revolt succeeds. Nice. Military rule Malaya. Does that mean the Japanese won there? It looks like they did, yeah. Yeah. So they won in the Philippines. They more or less won in Malaya. Maybe a slight stalemate more than anything. Cold War. Ongoing there. Malaya, they seem to have lost. Puerto Playa, they lost. Yeah. Madagascar got pretty much. Yeah, they did. I mean, they don't have content anymore, but the whole proxy rebellion is a lot more interesting. Makes Nixon a lot more, I guess, based because he intervenes to help the Madagascars out. Instead of him just doing Watergate, but against the NPP, which used to be the old law, I believe. I'm preparing, by the way. I might even start it after this for the next TNO series, which is going to be USA. That's interesting. So that means if these guys go communist, they did not. So I'm a little confused why that's going on. But anyhow, yeah, they removed the Madagascar playable content, I believe, but I believe they reworked the rebellion content. So, like, it's a little bit more complex than just the 3 different factions. Like, these guys can go, like, Madagascar can go, like, any way now, potentially. Madagascar is my first TNO playthrough, weirdly enough. That's an odd choice, but, I mean, my first choice was, Ostland. And there are little bits of content there. Which they still have it, cutely enough. Mine was, what was it? It was the reformist dude, Meyer Landroot, I think his name is. Mud covered the boots of soldiers marching through their advance. The squad's breath was ragged from their continued success, having advanced the front line significantly, yet success could not feed the man or give him rest. Mine was Sabling. Redditor. I'm sorry. The squad leader stopped for a second. In the quiet, he could hear the calves bawling. Their oasis was close, as he commanded his men to follow him towards it. Their entry to the farm was met with no resistance. The mud tracks told a story of a German garrison fleeing to protect those considered more important than mewling Dutchmen. The Verbauern left their stolen land, prayed for the communists to just pass them by. Prayers left unanswered as the quad began to reclaim what once belonged to them. Soldiers made their way into the new homes while the occupiers pleaded with them in broken Ukrainian as their beer, food, and valuables were claimed by the hungry. Their hunger is far from material. The settlers were forced out of their homes and hiding by the spots for an important announcement from the commissar. By the order of the Ukrainian Socialist Soviet Republic, your possessions have been requisitioned and have all been charged with crimes of theft of Ukrainian land and property. The sentence is a revocation of your citizenship to be carried out immediately. For those who stay, the sentence will be death. Protests were met with rifle butts as they were escorted out by gunpoint. Families wondered where they could go to in this war zone. Others seemed resigned to their fate as they walked nowhere, never to be seen again. They got what they deserved. Well, what the fuck happened in Britain? Oh yeah, it's a new civil war. I can't tell who's winning, the collabs or the resistance. Well, long paces, march 50 more paces. It was the betrayal of a long march to the east that brought the Socialist Republic back from oblivion, for it served as an example of the perseverance of the remnants of the URA. In this darkest of hours, the soldiers of the KPU learned to scrounge and scavenge for all they could get their hands on. Even as the Wehrmacht bared down on them, Ukraine's Red Army proved ever resourceful in snatching food and weapons out from under the Germans and their cohorts. These tactics have proven valuable in feeding a war machine, one that may be idle, to ultimately driving the Germans out. As the Civil War enters the next phase, we can already see the Wehrmacht begin to falter. Some among us may still have reservations over the heavy-handedness in which we secure food and ammunition, but cannot afford to be stingy with victory so close at hand. Oh, okay, yeah, I get you. How close are we to winning? We won. Ooh. Now this is gonna be fun, boys. After an endless and bitter fight, a sun rises over us. Dawn is breaking, yet our liberation is not complete until all of Ukraine escapes the German jackboot. Just ourselves, the Nazis have attempted to assimilate the territories of Kherson and Crimea, amalgamating them into a fictitious Gotenland. Their words mean nothing against the united feeling of a nation. This land is ours, as it has been for centuries. Our brethren across the Dnieper must be freed, and their livelihoods restored. The German settlers, tourists, and profiteers may panic and scatter, but the remaining Ukrainians will finally see peace. We rise across the Dnieper and into history. So we have about 30 days to get that going. Interesting. So we're not done yet, it seems. But for now, 1922, once more. 20 years, a full generation of Ukrainian boys and girls raised under the jackboot, lost in an endless search for an identity of their own, a state to call home. A future generation subject to the calamity of National Socialism, of a German menace carrying the trauma that runs through each and every household. This will be the case no more. At last, the lands along the Dnieper are freed from the shackles of subjugation, and the torture revolution is here to guide them. Thanks to our efforts, the people of Ukraine will finally have been allotted for the breathing room we have been deprived of for too long. And now it is time to rebuild culture, happiness, and solidarity. It is 1922 once again. It is time for the Ukrainian spring. And spring will have to wait until the next video to start, because we gotta cut things off here. But thanks so much for watching, gang. If you like, just like you didn't, leaving comments, feedback down in the comment section below. Check out all my various links down in the description box below, really. I thank you all for watching. My name has been Mr. Dogboat333. I'll see you all next time. Bye-bye.